In today's video, I want to give you guys an update on the new PlayStation Store deals. This kind of just quietly happened. It doesn't look like Sony is promoting it at all. However, if you go on the PlayStation Store as a part of their big sale that they're running right now, we knew that they were going to add a bunch of new deals, and those deals have been added. It's really lame, however, right now because there's no real easy way to find and navigate through all the new deals versus the old deals. However, over on psprices.com, I think I figured out how to find some of the new deals, but you can tell that obviously a bunch of new deals have been added, so I'll try to give you guys an overview on that. I do want to note some of the PlayStation Store deals. Again, my apologies if some of these deals are repeats just because Sony hasn't made it an easy way to navigate through all the new deals. Whatever the case may be, there are some things I immediately noticed. Shenmue 3 is down to $42, Ancestors The Humankind Odyssey down to $30, the Trine games are discounted, Trine Ultimate Collection down to $30, Trine 4 The Nightmare Prince alternatively is down to $19.49, which is actually pretty good. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast is down to $7.99, I see River City Girls, that's down to $21, that's actually a pretty good little game. Metal Wolf Chaos XD down to $18.74, there's some goofy elements of that game, not necessarily because they intended that game to be goofy, but just some of the voice acting and things like that, but honestly that adds to the overall enjoyment of Metal Wolf, so $18.74 for that is really good, and the gameplay is rather strong, so not a bad deal on that. That's actually a game done by From Software for those of you guys that aren't aware about that. Rad is down to $11.99, Elder Scrolls Online Elsewhere Collector's Edition Upgrade is down to $16.49, American Fugitive $8.99, which is pretty good. American Fugitive, one of those games that came out last year and went a little bit under the radar. A Plague Tale Innocence down to $24.99. If you guys are familiar with me, you know that I think incredibly highly about that game. I think it's one of the strongest games that was released in 2019. Got a little bit of attention when it came out back in May. However, it wasn't one of those games that a lot of people were talking about as far as their Game of the Year awards are concerned, and I really thought A Plague Tale Innocence was at that level. If you want a game with an incredibly strong narrative, you're gonna find that in A Plague Tale Innocence, and it's incredibly strong in that regard. The gameplay isn't anything to write home about, but you're really getting into the game for the story, the narrative, and then the atmosphere the game built is also absolutely incredible, and that again adds to the overall storytelling of the game, so I just think there's a lot of good to that game. And again, $25 for that game might be a little bit steep, however, there is a free demo available, so maybe download that, see how you like it, and then go from there. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 down to $24. I don't know who's really picking up Black Ops 4 at this point, just because Modern Warfare is out, and usually with Call of Duty, you're gravitating towards the newest one. But nonetheless, $24 for that isn't that bad. Metro Exodus down to $24. The Gold Edition is down to $34. I loved Metro Exodus. I love the Metro games in general. However, I did think Metro Exodus was the weakest of the three games. Not saying a lot because I think really highly of Metro 2033 and Last Light. Did think Exodus dropped a little bit in quality levels, but it's still a great game. Just a little bit of a bummer that the guys on PC and Xbox One can play this game, much like Outer Worlds, for $1 with Game Pass, and we're left paying $24 for the base game, $34 for the Gold Edition, but the game is still good enough where I would say it's worth it. Spyro and Crash Remastered Collection is down to $37.49. Pretty good deal on that, all things considered. The Spyro Collection still usually retains its value, and Crash is still pretty good as well, so not a bad deal on that. My Hero 1's Justice is down to $15. I think that's a pretty good deal on that, all things considered, given that that game has actually held up in price. $60 is still its list price, which is kind of crazy. Of course, don't be paying that, but $15 for it if you want a My Hero video game, that's not all too bad. Definitely has some improvements to be made when the sequel does come out early this year. I believe it comes out in February or March, but I thought they set a pretty good foundation with My Hero 1's Justice. Valkyria Chronicles 4, that is 50% off for $14.99. I would say that is also a really good buy. I loved Valkyria Chronicles 4. I think it's a tremendous JRPG. Does it revolutionize from the first Valkyria Chronicles? No, not necessarily. However, it's just a very competent and well-made game, and the storytelling is just on point. It's just really, really strong, and the changes that they do made in Valkyria Chronicles 4, like adding a new class or adding an easy difficulty for those that don't want a more challenging game, I think does enhance the overall game. You've got a lot of side content. There's a lot of content in general, so $15 for that if you want a good JRPG, or if you're just one of those people that just want a good tactical RPG. It's not like Valkyria Chronicles 4 has a ton of Japanese tropes that's going to turn off those that are more of a fan of Western RPGs or just not a fan of Japanese games in general. I would say still give Valkyria Chronicles 4 a look. There's a lot to like, and $15 for it is a great buy. Banner Saga 3 down to $9.99, that's pretty good. Slime Rancher down to $9.99. I see the Skyrim and Fallout 4 Game of the Year bundle, that is down to $27.99. That's a really good buy. That essentially means you get each game for $14, and I believe during the Black Friday sale, they had that for $29.99, so it's getting a little bit cheaper even on top of that, and I thought it was a great deal during Black Friday. But Skyrim and Fallout with all the DLC for $28, if you're one of the 2 people that haven't played either of those games and don't own either of those games, this is a really good buy. But again, it comes down to you actually wanting both games, and people in that category might be a little bit few and far between. Prey Digital Deluxe Edition is down to $9.99, tremendous buy on that. I often say that Prey was the most underrated game of 2017 because I thought it was that good and not enough people played it, but for $9.99 for the Digital Deluxe Edition, that is a great buy. Assassin's Creed Rogue, a remaster, down to $14.99. Decent buy on that. Assassin's Creed Rogue is another one of those underrated games that I always try to go to bat for. I think it's a good title. Maybe not great, but it didn't get the attention it deserves so. And it's of the older Assassin's Creed style, which I've been vocal of the fact that I understand why people like AC Origins, AC Odyssey, whatever the case may be. The older style of Assassin's Creed is really what's up my alley, but that's just a personal preference. The South Park bundle with South Park The Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole is down to $23.09. That's a pretty good deal. Stick of Truth was phenomenal. That was a game that was excellent, and a lot of people, myself included, didn't see the excellence of that game coming. And then Fractured But Whole, I wouldn't say is quite as good of a game, but it's still pretty good in its own right. SteamWorld Dig 2 down to $7.99. If you want a charming Metroidvania title, SteamWorld Dig 2 definitely offers that. Not a bad buy at all. Persona 5 down to $9.99 if you don't want to dump $60 for Persona 5 Royal. $9.99 for Persona 5 is pretty great, and think about it this way. Persona 5 Royal is essentially going to be a $50 expansion when you look at the fact that the base Persona 5 can be had for $9.99. So from that standpoint, hey, if you want to play Persona 5 for the first time for $9.99, like, I wouldn't be all too against that, because $60 for Royal, that is the only thing that makes some a little bit apprehensive. I think ultimately the majority of people are still going to buy it just because Persona 5 is an elite caliber JRPG, but nonetheless, it is something to note. And if we are assessing things objectively, it is fair to point at that. Diablo 3 Eternal Collection down to $19.79. Assassin's Creed the Ezio Collection down to $11.99. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Legacy Edition down to $23.99. That includes Infinite Warfare and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered, so that's pretty good. Valkyria Chronicles 1 Remastered is down to $7.99, so that's something to look at as well. Again, that game I wouldn't say is as good as Valkyria Chronicles 4, but still it retains the fundamentals, and while it doesn't have an easy mode, which is a little bit of a bummer because that game is challenging, it is an incredibly rewarding title as well when you do play it, and if you can manage to get to the end. I'm not saying it's brutally difficult and it's impossible to complete, however, some missions are rather difficult, and you might want to look up a guide here and there on how to easily beat some of the missions. I don't know, maybe for some people it was a lot easier than others, but for me, my first playthrough of that was rather difficult, so I wanted to make mention of that. Shadow Warrior 1 down to $7.49, Dragon Quest 11 down to $29.99, would say that's pretty good. Sparklight, a game that released earlier last year, is down to $17.49, not a bad deal on that. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, would like to see it cheaper, but $49.79 for that. Hey, a deal on that is a deal on it. Isn't the worst thing in the world. Cat Quest 2 down to $11.99. That's a relatively recent release, and I believe that's the majority of the new deals that I'm seeing. Again, my apologies if I reiterated deals that were already alive or whatever. I don't know why Sony hasn't offered a rundown of all of the games. I thought that something like that would just make sense, so just so people know what's new going live. However, there's nothing like that to be had. Maybe they'll do that next week, because I don't believe these sales were supposed to go live this early. I don't know if more deals are going to be added, because initially I thought the sales were going to be added on January 6th, because if you go on the PlayStation Store, the holiday sale, I believe, was being promoted as a new set of deals on January 7th. I don't know exactly, but I do believe that's how it was being promoted as. I should also add that PlayStation Plus is 25% off on the PlayStation Store for 12 months, so that's something some of you guys might want to look at as well. Overall, there are a ton of great deals available on the PlayStation Store right now, and they're only adding more to it with the additions to the holiday sale, so definitely give those a look. And that's going to conclude this video. If you guys are planning on picking up any of these games, let us know and sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.